Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the eerie and enigmatic corners of the world, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this fourth episode of Most Haunted Cemeteries in the World, we delve deeper into the shadowy realms of the dead, places where the boundary between the living and the departed blurs, leaving behind whispers, shadows, and spectral encounters that linger long after the sun sets. From ancient burial grounds steeped in myth to modern cemeteries haunted by tragic tales, these hallowed sites are more than mere resting places for the deceased. They are gateways to another realm, where the past refuses to stay buried. Cemeteries have always held a unique place in human culture, a final sanctuary for those who came before us, yet also spaces imbued with mystery and superstition. They are repositories of memory, grief, and sometimes unresolved anguish. Beneath their serene facades lie countless stories of love, loss, betrayal, and vengeance, all emotions too powerful to fade quietly into oblivion. It is no wonder, then, that these sacred grounds often become stages for supernatural phenomena, drawing curious souls and paranormal investigators alike to uncover the secrets hidden beneath tombstones and mausoleums. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted cemeteries across the globe, places where the veil between worlds feels thinnest. We'll tread cautiously through overgrown pathways lined with crumbling headstones, explore crypts cloaked in perpetual darkness, and listen closely for the faint echoes of voices from beyond the grave. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal teams, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of these cemeteries, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. Père Lachaise Cemetery, Paris. Eternal restlessness nestled in the heart of Paris, Père Lachaise Cemetery stands as one of the world's most iconic final resting places, a sprawling necropolis that blends art, history, and tragedy. Established in 1804, it was designed not only as a burial ground but as a testament to human creativity, with elaborate tombs and sculptures adorning its winding paths. Home to luminaries such as Oscar Wilde, Jim Morrison, and Edith Piaf, the cemetery draws millions of visitors each year seeking solace or inspiration. Yet beneath its picturesque veneer lies an undercurrent of unease, a sense that the spirits interred here refuse to rest quietly. One of the most enduring legends tied to Père Lachaise revolves around the grave of François de la Rochefoucauld, a French nobleman whose life ended violently during the Reign of Terror. According to local lore, his spirit is said to roam the cemetery at night, searching for the headless body he believes was mistakenly buried elsewhere. Visitors recount seeing a shadowy figure clad in 18th-century attire pacing anxiously near his mausoleum, accompanied by the sound of rustling leaves even when there is no wind. Some claim to feel an icy breath on their necks as they pass by, while others report hearing faint whispers pleading for help. Another prominent haunting involves the tomb of Heloise and Abelard, two star-crossed lovers whose tragic romance has captivated generations. Buried side by side within the cemetery, their story of forbidden love and separation continues to resonate with visitors. Paranormal investigators exploring the site have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a female voice softly reciting lines from letters exchanged between the couple centuries ago. Witnesses describe seeing translucent figures embracing near the tomb, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. The air around the gravesite is often described as unusually cold, as though the sorrow of their untimely parting lingers indefinitely. The cemetery's labyrinthine layout, with its narrow alleys and towering crypts, creates an atmosphere ripe for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the grounds frequently describe hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors, though no one else is present. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore she saw a child playing hide-and-seek among the tombstones, only for the figure to vanish without explanation. Local superstitions suggest that children buried in unmarked graves haunt the area, forever searching for companionship among the living. Modern-day investigations into Père Lachaise's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the vicinity of certain mausoleums and statues. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near older sections of the cemetery believed to house mass graves dating back to the Napoleonic era. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented phrases like, "I'm still here," and "Why won't you leave me alone?" Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Père Lachaise remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to explore its corridors after dark, the possibility of encountering Francois, Heloise, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto its cobblestone paths, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the cemetery's macabre legacy? Highgate Cemetery, London's Gothic enigma tucked away in the northern reaches of London, Highgate Cemetery stands as a masterpiece of Victorian funerary architecture, a hauntingly beautiful labyrinth of ivy-covered tombs, towering obelisks, and ornate mausoleums. Since its consecration in 1839, it has served as the eternal resting place for over 170,000 individuals, including notable figures such as Karl Marx and novelist George Eliot. But beyond its storied history and picturesque decay lies a darker narrative, one steeped in supernatural lore, urban legends, and reports of ghostly apparitions that have earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted cemeteries in the world. One of the most infamous tales associated with Highgate is the legend of the Highgate vampire, a creature said to prowl the grounds at night, preying on unsuspecting visitors. First reported in the late 1960s, sightings of a tall, gaunt figure with glowing red eyes sparked widespread panic and led to a series of amateur vampire hunts. While skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as mass hysteria fueled by media sensationalism, believers insist that something malevolent resides within the cemetery's shadowy depths. Modern witnesses describe feeling an overwhelming sense of dread upon entering certain areas, accompanied by the sensation of being watched, even in broad daylight. Others claim to see shadowy figures darting between gravestones, vanishing before they can be identified. Another prominent haunting involves the tomb of Elizabeth Siddal, the muse and wife of Pre-Raphaelite painter Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Known for her ethereal beauty and tragic life, Elizabeth died in 1862 after overdosing on laudanum, allegedly driven to despair by Rossetti's infidelity. Her spirit is said to wander the cemetery, forever searching for the man who immortalized her likeness in his paintings. Visitors recount seeing a pale woman in a flowing gown standing silently near her grave, her hollow eyes fixed on some unseen point in the distance. Some claim to smell the faint scent of roses, an homage to Rossetti's famous works, as though Elizabeth herself lingers amidst the ruins. Highgate's dense foliage and intricate design create an environment conducive to paranormal encounters. The cemetery's east and west sections, divided by Swains Lane, are connected by a network of narrow pathways that twist and turn unpredictably, disorienting even seasoned explorers. Employees tasked with maintaining the grounds describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved the groundskeeper who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the cemetery's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Paranormal investigators exploring Highgate Cemetery have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the Egyptian Avenue and the Circle of Lebanon, a circular arrangement of family vaults surrounding an ancient cedar tree. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the charnel house, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the cemetery's reputation as one of England's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Highgate Cemetery continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the tragedies committed in pursuit of wealth and power. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Highgate promises an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, New Orleans Voodoo Vale. Nestled in the heart of New Orleans' French Quarter, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 stands as a haunting testament to the city's rich cultural tapestry, a place where Catholic tradition meets Afro-Caribbean mysticism, creating a unique blend of reverence and superstition. Established in 1789, it is the oldest surviving cemetery in New Orleans and one of the most visited sites in the city. Its above-ground tombs, a necessity due to the region's high water table, resemble small houses stacked side by side, their whitewashed walls now weathered and cracked with age. Yet beyond its picturesque facade lies a darker narrative, one steeped in voodoo rituals, curses, and spectral encounters that have earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted cemeteries in the world. One of the most enduring legends tied to St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 revolves around the tomb of Marie Laveau, the legendary Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. Born in 1801, Laveau became a revered figure in the city's African-American community, blending Catholicism with traditional voodoo practices to heal, protect, and occasionally curse those who crossed her path. Her influence extended far beyond her lifetime, and her tomb remains a focal point for pilgrims seeking her blessings, or fearing her wrath. Visitors often leave offerings of coins, beads, or candles etched with prayers, believing that marking her tomb with 3 X's will summon her spirit. However, some claim that disturbing her final resting place invites misfortune, citing personal accounts of accidents, illnesses, or inexplicable bad luck following their visit. Another prominent haunting involves the LaLaurie Mansion massacre, whose victims were reportedly buried in unmarked graves within the cemetery. Madame Delphine LaLaurie, a wealthy socialite in the 19th century, was infamous for her brutal treatment of enslaved people. When a fire broke out at her mansion in 1834, authorities discovered a chamber of horrors in the attic, enslaved individuals chained, mutilated, and left to die. Though LaLaurie fled the city, her victims' spirits are said to haunt the cemetery, seeking justice for the atrocities committed against them. Witnesses described seeing shadowy figures huddled together near certain tombs, their faces obscured by darkness, while others report hearing faint moans and rattling chains emanating from sealed-off chambers. The cemetery's labyrinthine layout, with its narrow alleys and towering crypts, creates an atmosphere ripe for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the grounds frequently describe hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors, though no one else is present. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. One particularly unnerving incident involved a tour guide who swore she saw a child playing hide-and-seek among the tombstones, only for the figure to vanish without explanation. Local superstitions suggest that children buried in unmarked graves haunt the area, forever searching for companionship among the living. Modern-day investigations into St. Louis Cemetery No. 1's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the vicinity of certain mausoleums and statues. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near older sections of the cemetery believed to house mass graves dating back to the colonial era. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented phrases like "help me" and "let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to explore its corridors after dark, the possibility of encountering Marie Laveau, the victims of the LaLaurie Mansion, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto its cobblestone paths, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the cemetery's macabre legacy. Catacombs of Paris. Echoes beneath the city of light. Beneath the bustling streets of Paris lies a realm shrouded in perpetual gloom, the Catacombs of Paris, an underground ossuary housing the remains of over 6 million people. Originally quarries mined for limestone, these tunnels were repurposed in the late 18th century to alleviate overcrowding in the city's cemeteries, transforming them into a colossal labyrinth of bones and skulls arranged in macabre patterns. Today, the catacombs serve as both a historical monument and a chilling reminder of mortality, attracting thousands of visitors eager to explore its eerie depths. Yet for those who dare to venture beyond the tourist route, the catacombs hold darker secrets. Whispers of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena that linger in the suffocating darkness. One of the most persistent legends tied to the catacombs involves the shadow people, spectral figures said to roam the endless corridors, their forms flickering like candlelight in the pitch-black void. Witnesses describe seeing these entities darting between stacks of bones, their movements jerky and unnatural. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as the shadows glide by, while others report hearing faint whispers pleading for release. Paranormal investigators exploring the off-limits sections of the catacombs have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of multiple entities, their voices overlapping in fragmented sentences like, "I'm trapped," and "Get me out." These findings have fueled speculation that the catacombs are home to the spirits of those whose remains were hastily relocated, forever searching for peace. Another prominent haunting centers around the so-called gatekeeper's room, a small chamber near the entrance where workers once monitored access to the tunnels. According to local lore, a watchman stationed there in the early 20th century went mad after witnessing inexplicable events, lights flickering without cause, disembodied footsteps echoing through the catacombs, and the sensation of being followed by unseen eyes. His ghost is said to linger in the room, pacing anxiously as though still guarding the gateway to the underworld. Visitors recount seeing a shadowy figure seated at a desk illuminated by lantern light, only for it to dissolve into mist when approached. Others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they enter the chamber, as though the air itself resists intrusion. The catacombs' vast expanse, stretching over 280 kilometers, creates an environment ripe for disorientation and fear. Narrow passages twist unpredictably, leading explorers into dead ends or circular loops that seem impossible to escape. Urban explorers who venture into unauthorized zones often report hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a group of spelunkers who swore they saw a procession of figures dressed in tattered clothing walking silently ahead of them, their faces gaunt and weary, before vanishing into thin air. Theories abound that these apparitions represent victims of plague outbreaks or political purges, forever trapped in the confines of their final resting place. Modern-day investigations into the catacombs' supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, particularly near older sections believed to contain mass graves dating back to the Revolution. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, especially near walls adorned with intricate arrangements of skulls and femurs. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from photographs captured deep within the tunnels, showing translucent figures standing motionless amidst the bones, their expressions frozen in eternal anguish. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the catacombs of Paris continue to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, exploring the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the tragedies committed in pursuit of progress. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the catacombs promise an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. As we traverse the haunted landscapes of cemeteries around the world, from the opulent tombs of Père Lachaise to the shadowy catacombs beneath Paris, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the somber grounds of battlefields, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted cemeteries captivate us? What is it about haunted cemeteries that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking gates and flickering lanterns lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted cemeteries exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted cemetery feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted cemeteries contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, winding pathways lined with identical headstones create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted cemeteries. Media representations, from films like The Sixth Sense to television series such as Supernatural, have cemented the trope of the haunted graveyard as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted cemeteries become microcosms of larger fears: the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted cemeteries appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted cemeteries attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. As we bring this chilling journey through the world's most haunted cemeteries to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking gate, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted cemeteries yourself. Walk the same paths where spirits are said to roam, stand in the shadows of towering mausoleums, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken grounds offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of centuries-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted cemeteries, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.